Hey y'all, welcome back. Let's get started. 10 of Wands, closing the suit out. Here we go. 10 is usually in the minor arcana. It's kind of the end of the suit. You go 1 through 10 or ace through 10, and then you have the house cards, or page, usually page, through king. And those are a little separate idea, of course they do relate, but. So let's look at this as 10 being the culminating number of our journey. Unfortunately, 10 in Wands and Swords doesn't end the best. We'll talk about it some ways. As always, generic meaning, maybe a positive twist that you can take on it. Here we go. 10 of Wands screams from the get-go heavy, burden, taking on too much. I always feel personally added when I see this card. And it's not because every time I do a tarot reading it shows up, because it does. If I sit down in front of a reader, they're like, oh, they got the 10 of Wands. And I'm like, yeah, we sure did. If I do a reading for myself, 10 of Wands comes up. And it's because I do so many things. And I know I do so many things. And I can't stop. I have to. I'm a tarot reader, I'm a healer, warrior of light, all that fun spiritual stuff. But I'm a musician, I'm a composer, I play guitar, bass, drums, trumpet. Also, I'm a big video game nerd, not just playing them, I'm working on making one and scoring it and then directing it and writing the story for it. And on top of that, I gotta eat, and I actually like cooking, so then I take way too much time learning how to cook, do cuisine, and then now I'm like, oh, let me make videos on YouTube, I'm gonna do video editing, and it's like, I just keep piling things on and on and on. Oh, and at some point I gotta make money. So anyway, classic meaning of 10 of Wands. So much to do, so little time. And then you can kind of get into a debate here now as to, and it just really depends on the context, keep the burden, put the burden down. Sometimes it's not good to spread yourself too thin. So you want to cut the load. Close some tabs on your computer. God, I keep too many tabs on my computer. Oh, close them out. It's the best feeling ever. All right. It could also be saying you can't. You have to manage all of it. You gotta do all that multitasking. If you don't, it's gonna fall apart, or it's just like, it's just the situation, it's tight, it's hard. So in that case, it could be saying, all right, buckle up, but go slow. Don't rush. Take the pressure off the need to do it quick, right? Even if you do need to do it quick, think about slowing it down in your mind and going slow through it. Because you probably have more time than you think anyway. Than it might seem. A lot of that pressure is probably internal. A lot of that pressure is contributing to the weight that's on your back. Usually the card almost shows somebody with like sticks on their back. Oh my god, which like I also relate to back pain. But that's up to you. That's the context that's really going to give you that. Put the weight down or keep the weight. On the flip side of that, a positive way to look at this is the card could depict unbreakable resolve. Badass. You got the strength to carry that. You got the strength to carry that and make it the distance, to close this out, to carry so many things on your back and still go. So especially if you saw this paired with strength, that's probably talking a lot about, and not even so much physical strength, obviously because the strength card almost never talks about physical strength. It's usually the exact opposite, internal strength, willpower. So one way you could look at this card is, say somebody's saying, all right, I'm thinking about going into this career field. What do you think? Throw down the 10 of Wands. And you could go, ooh, that's going to be a real hard one. Or you could go, do you really want this? Do you really have the strength to see it through? Or you could say, yes, it's going to be tough, but I think for you, you won't find it to be so tough because you just naturally carry that weight. You naturally push through. When the going gets tough, not a problem for you, right? So a couple different ways you could look and interpret that. Overall, 10 of Wands, the number 10, completion, is the end. And you could think, well, too many wands, ends in disaster, ends in ruin, brute force, conflict, going out without thinking, all of the extreme fire energy leads to ruin. And you would be right, that is true, that does happen. But maybe an optimistic twist on that is, think about the completion of it. I've actually seen one 10 of Wands that shows a completed house, and there's no wands. I guess the wands are implied to be the logs in the cabin. And the card's about completion. It's like, you did it. Project done, right? So really, I say this every video, contextual. The context matters. It's going to tell you what it is. And that really, like, the card depiction is always going to be, like, what matters most. But these are some of the most basic and obvious meanings that you'll see across many decks. So hopefully that helps you. I would urge you, when you see this card, take it slow. Just like the card's saying, it's almost always saying, high burden, heavy. Take it slow. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Think it through. You'll make it. So here we go. That's the 10 of Wands in a nutshell, and that's 1 through 10. I hope you enjoyed. We're gonna start with some of the more complicated cards. So I guess I'll try to keep these videos as short as I can, even though I'm already way over my time limit for myself. This one, sorry guys, but I appreciate you showing up. I appreciate you being here. You know the drill. Give me a like, give me a subscribe. Thank you, and I will see you for the Page of Wands next time. Woo woo! Bless y'all.